So good morning, students. Today we will discuss about the. In the last class we had discussed about the topics, that is the house what we call microbes in industrial products. So we discussed about the chemicals, certain organic acids. Then except that we had discussed about the enzymes by which microbe, especially that is by bacteria and fungi, some of the enzymes are going to produce. Except that one. Some of the bioactive molecules such as D-statins, streptokinase, like that, the microbes are used for the production of such kind of bioactive molecule. Except that one, we also had seen the meaning or the definition of what sewage. So let's see here, sewage treatment. Okay, in this sewage treatment, I had told you what is the meaning of sewage. Sewage means that which is a municipal domestic waste, which includes the domesticated wastewater, whatever the drainage system will be there, the water which contains all the waste forms, which also contains some of the phosphate, nitrates, organic matter, microbes, many harmful microbes or many harmful bacteria, fungi, all that we can consider it as the sewage water, or else we can also say it as the sewage is a waste water having food residues, animal and human excreta, which also constitutes the human and animal excreta, except that one detergents, discharges from the commercial and industrial establishments, and pathogenic microbes, etc. So, explain about the BOD. What is the meaning, full form of BOD? Means that is the biochemical oxygen demand. What it is? It is the biochemical oxygen demand. See, in the sewage water, for example, this is the sewage water. In the sewage water, what happens means, whatever the microbes will be there, for example, you can take an bacteria. So, this bacteria, whatever it will be there, these bacteria are going to utilize, or they are going to eat the organic matter present in the sewage water. So this organic matter, what they utilizes means, this organic matter utilizes the oxygen. What they will utilize? They will utilize the oxygen which is present in the sewage water. See here, whatever the oxygen will be there, that gets utilized by what? By the organic matter. So what happens means, here the oxygen demand is going to increase. What happens? The biochemical oxygen demand, it is going to increase. When it is going to increase, when there will be presence of more organic matter in the water. Organic matter means the water will be the dirt or the polluted water. Okay, high amount of organic matter will be there. Then they will utilize all the oxygen from the water. So there will be, the BOD is going to increase. If BOD is increased, then we can say the water is highly polluted. What we can say? We can say that water is highly polluted. Next thing, second condition you see. See, if it is not a sewage water, it is a normal water. What it is? It is a normal water. If it is normal water, what happens? So, there will be no presence of any microbes or bacteria. They are not going to utilize any organic matter. There will be no organic matter. Then whatever the oxygen will be there, that oxygen will be present in that form only, so that we can say the BOD or the oxygen demand now becomes, it will become decreased. If BOD or the biochemical oxygen demand is decreased, at that time we can say water is normal or fit for drinking. Not only for drinking, for all uses, or else we can also say it is unpolluted. Okay, so this is the indication. If biochemical oxygen demand is increased, we can consider it as the water is highly polluted. If biochemical oxygen demand is decreased, we can say water is normal water. Okay, so if this is the sewage water, if the sewage water is directly drained or released into the rivers, lakes or streams, whatever the water bodies will be there, what happens means there will be that water also becomes a very highly polluted. So before releasing the sewage water into these water bodies, the sewage water has to be treated. What it has to be done? It has to be treated by several steps, several methods. So how this treatment is done, we will study, that is in the sewage treatment. So let's see here. Here the sewage treatment is divided into three steps or three treatments, that is primary, secondary and tertiary treatment. Let's see here. First one, here the sewage treatment is divided into three treatments, that is primary treatment, secondary treatment, and one more, tertiary treatment. So first we will see about the primary treatment. This is very important question. Sometimes they will ask only the primary treatment. Sometimes they will ask only the secondary treatment. These two treatments are very important. Otherwise, they will ask for 5 marks or 3 marks. If they are asking for 3 marks, means the first question means in that question, what is sewage? Question mark. Explain the primary treatment or the secondary treatment. Like this the question will be. Otherwise, for 5 marks if they are asking means they will ask what is sewage water? Question mark. Explain briefly about the sewage treatment. In that question, you have to mention all the three treatments. So first we will see about the primary treatment. Here, this primary treatment, it involves basically the physical removal of large and small particles from the sewage. See, for example, this is the sewage water. SW means that is the sewage water. Here, all the whatever the polythene bags, plastic bottles, cloths, the whatever the debris or the waste which the people are going to throw into the water bodies. So that will be floating on what? On the surface of the water. Okay, which water? That is the sewage water. Except that one, this water also contains some of the stones, pebbles, grit, that means sand, grit, mud. Okay, all these things are present except this one. They also contain some of the microbes. These are the microbes. That microbes are the pathogens. Okay, that is a disease causing organism. So what happens means in the primary treatment, it involves basically physical removal of large and small particles from this sewage. In the primary treatment, they are going to remove physically. They are telling that I will explain why they are telling physically. They are going to remove it. What they are going to remove? Whatever the large particles which are floating on the surface, as well as the small particles which are submerged into the at the bottom of the sewage water. So here, physically removal, they are telling there are two physical processes involved in this primary treatment. What is that means? That is, they are going to remove these large and small particles from the sewage by two methods. That is by one is filtration and one more, that is the sedimentation. What are the two methods which is involved in this primary treatment? One is the filtration and another is the sedimentation. Here, see, filtration, two stages are there in the primary treatment. What are the two stages? Means that two stages are the filtration and sedimentation. See here, in the first stage, what they will do means whatever the floating debris, this is the floating debris. Floating debris means whatever the dirt, I have told you, the polythene bags, plastic bottles, whatever it will be, which are floating on the surface of water, that we are calling it as the floating debris. That floating debris is removed by sequential filtration. Okay, that these things are going to remove by what? By the sequential filtration. Sequential filtration means they are going to use the net or mesh, what we call, which will be having a small pores. Okay, if they are using a mesh, this is the mesh with the small pores. By using this mesh, they are going to remove that floating debris. Sequentially means many times they will put the mesh into the sewage water and they remove all that debris which are floating on the surface of the sewage water. Okay, so this is about the filtration. Next, that is the sedimentation is there. Sedimentation means whatever the grit, soil, pebbles, rocks which are settled down here, that is removed by what? That is by the filtration. Here you see these all things, that is grit, soil, sand, pebbles, small stones. These all things are removed by what? By the second process, that is in the second stage, that is the sedimentation. Okay, removed by what? That is the sedimentation. Next, after the filtration and sedimentation, what happens means, you see here, this is the sewage water which has undergone into two processes, that is the filtration and sedimentation. after filtration and sedimentation, here you can see some solid is going to deposit at the bottom of the sewage tank or whatever the tank they are using. This is the solid. Whatever the material which is settled down here, that is the concentrated solid material. What it is? Concentrated solid material. Okay, so whatever the effluent is remaining here, next, see, whatever the concentrated solid material which is settled down to this, you can call it as this part, solid part, you can call it as the primary sludge. What you can call? You can call it as the primary sludge. So this solid part becomes the primary sludge. What about that effluent? So that effluent is released or it is sent for transferred for the secondary treatment. What we are sending for the secondary treatment? That is the effluent. Then what is primary sludge over here? Whatever the solid part which is settled at the bottom of the tank, that we can call it as the primary sludge. So whatever the effluent which is sent for the secondary treatment, now we will see in detail what do you mean by secondary treatment. See here, sometimes they will ask for 3 marks. Explain only the primary treatment. Okay, in that it involves the basically it involves the physical removal of large and small particles from the sewage by 2 methods, that is filtration and sedimentation. Filtration, in which the floating debris is removed by sequential filtration, and whatever the solid part that such as small stone, green pebbles and all, that is removed by what? Sedimentation. Then the liquid part, the remaining water which is known as the effluent, is sent for the secondary treatment. So only if you explain this much means you will score 3 marks. Next we will go for the secondary treatment. See, secondary treatment. Okay, in the secondary treatment, say here I will draw. This is about the primary treatment, which already you have seen. In this primary treatment, the remaining water and solid material, to this you are calling it as the primary sludge, and this is the effluent. This effluent is sent for the next, this effluent is sent for the secondary treatment. Okay, here the secondary treatment, which is also known as the biological treatment. Why we are calling it as the biological treatment means because here bio means that is the life, living organisms. So biological treatment, why we are calling means because there is an involvement of an organism, and that organisms are the microbes. What it is? There is an involvement of what? Or else there is an microbial activity is going to take place, due to which we are calling it as the biological treatment. Microbial activity is going to take place. So what happens means here, whatever the After primary treatment, whatever the effluent which is sent to the secondary treatment, or this is the tank, this tank we can call it as the large aeration tank. Here the word comes the large aeration. Aeration means where continuously oxygen or the air is supplied or air is pumped. That's why we are calling it as the aeration tank. Why we are calling aeration tank? Because there is a supply of what? The air into the tank. So here the air is pumped continuously, except that here one mechanical or one what we call instrument will be there, which is continuously rotating into what? Into this secondary treatment or into this large aeration tank. A fan like one instrument will be there which is rotating continuously. See, if it is rotating continuously, that means constantly agitated. This large aeration tank is constantly agitated. Agitated means continuously mixing mechanically. So, if it is constantly agitating, agitating means I told you that is the rotating in the presence of air, means what happens means it allows in this tank this what we call agitation process and the presence of air. This both condition will allow the growth of vigorous growth of aerobic microbes. Vigorous growth of aerobic microbes. Okay, microbes in what? Into the flux. See, when that primary effluent is sent to the secondary treatment, here there will be large aeration tank. Why we are calling aeration means because the air is pumped continuously into that tank. Due to the presence of air as well as it is continuously agitating, due to which aerobic microbes means the microorganism, either it may be the fungi or the bacteria, that is going to grow very rapidly. Okay, because they are getting a proper amount of oxygen, in that condition they are growing rapidly. That's why I had mentioned here it allows the vigorous growth of what? Aerobic microbes. So into one more term they have given, into flux. What do you mean by this flux means here whatever the flux are there, see these are the masses of bacteria, means this question will be asked for 1 mark. What is flux? Okay. This will be asked for 1 mark. Okay. See, these are the masses of bacteria held together by fungi filaments to form a mesh-like structures. Okay, see here in this tanks, what they will form means there will be presence of certain masses of bacteria like this. Many bacteria are going to aggregate at one places. That masses we can call it as that particular aggregation of that particular bacteria, we can call it as the flux. So here a masses of bacteria that is held together. Why they are grouped here means there will be presence of certain filaments fungi. Filament fungi means the what you had studied in the first year classes, the structure of fungi. There will be presence of hyphae. Okay, so that they are going to form a mesh-like structure. Who is going to form a mesh-like structure? That is the fungal filaments are going to form a mesh-like structure in which the bacteria are trapped. So that aggregation in which there will be presence of both bacteria as well as the fungi. To that aggregation, we can call it as the flux. Here, it is a mass of bacteria held together by the fungal filaments to form a mesh-like structure. So next, this is about the flux. Then what happened in the next term? Here, accept this one. After the aeration providing air, after mechanical agitation, there will be growth of aerobic microbes which forms a flux. Okay. After this one, the effluent, whatever the water is there, in which there is a presence of aerobic microbe, that is sent to the next tank. That tank we can call it as the settling tank. What it is? That is the settling tank. So you see here. Next, the effluent is sent into the next tank. Here, this tank we can call it as the settling tank. What it is? It is the settling tank. Here, there will be, see, same effluent will be there, the liquid part, except that I told you there will be presence of microbial flux. So this is the microbial flux which is settled down. By name itself, something is going to settle down. That's why we are calling it as the settling tank. So here, the settled down material or the microbial flux are going to settle down in the settling tanks. Like this, it will be masses of bacteria. Okay, so this whatever the settled part is there, to that we can call it as the activated sludge. What we can call? We can call it as the activated sludge. You had studied about the primary sludge. Next comes the word that is the what we call, that is the activated sludge. Okay, see here the microbial flux which is going to settle at the bottom of the settling tank to that particular matter or to that microbial flux, to that we can call it as the activated sludge. So this activated sludge, a small part of activated sludge a small part of activated sludge is pumped into aeration tanks. Okay, whatever the aeration tank is there, because see, if continuously that microbial flux are released into the settling tanks, then there will be no microbes in this sewage water or whatever the effluent is there. That's why a small part of this microbial flux is introduced into the aeration tank because they require a more growth of what? Aerobic bacteria. So who is providing that bacteria to that aeration tank? That is the settling tank. From the settling tank, they will take the activated sludge, only a small part which will serve as an inoculum. So from here, they will take some small part of that sludge and they will introduce into this aeration tank so that there will be a continuous or a vigorous growth of what? Aerated microbes or the aerobic bacteria. Then only a small part is going to be transferred there. Then what about the remaining part? A major or a large part of activated sludge. Again, this one. This is about the small part. Next, a major or a large part of activated sludge is introduced into or released into large tanks released into the large tanks. That large tanks we can call it as the anaerobic sludge digester. What we can call? We can call it as the anaerobic sludge digester. Okay, so this anaerobic sludge digester tank is there that will explain in the tertiary treatment. Okay, listen here carefully. In the primary treatment, only filtration and sedimentation will take place. Then, in the secondary treatment, in the large aeration tank, there will be presence of air is pumped continuously, and there will be constantly agitation process is going to take place, which will allow the growth of what? Aerobic bacteria. The next, there will be presence of what? Formation of the flux. That flux are going to introduced into the large settling tanks where all the microbial flux are settled down. A small part is introduced into the aeration tank which will serve as an inoculum. Then a large part is transferred to the next tank, that is the aerobic sludge digester. So this we will see in the next treatment what is happening in the anaerobic sludge digester. So here next part, that is the tertiary treatment. Mostly they will ask only primary or secondary treatment. They will not ask for 3 marks, that is the tertiary treatment. Okay. So in the anaerobic sludge digester, what is taking place means third one, that is the tertiary treatment. So let's see in the tertiary treatment. Once again I will tell you, in the primary treatment, filtration and sedimentation, these are the 2 stages. After that, whatever the effluent is remained, that is passed into the next treatment, that is the secondary treatment. In the large aeration tank, a vigorous growth of aerobic bacteria is going to take place. After that, flux are going to form, that flux are going to settle down. Small part is introduced into the aeration tank and large part is introduced into the anaerobic sludge digester. So let's see about the tertiary treatment over here. So here, these are the large tanks in which this is the settling tank settling tank where this is the microbial flux or this part, that is the effluent or the water. Okay, I told you large part is introduced into what? Into the a tank which is known as the anaerobic sludge digester. Anaerobic sludge digester. Okay, from the settling tank, a large part of microbial flux is introduced into the large tanks, that is the anaerobic sludge digester. So here, by name itself, you can say, see, this is microbial flux, or this part you can say it as the activated sludge. Okay, in which there will be presence of microbes as well as bacteria as well as the fungi. In this anaerobic sludge digester, what happens is it has oxygen-free atmosphere. Anaerobic means absence of oxygen. There will be no oxygen in these tanks. That means it has oxygen-free atmosphere. That means oxygen free means absence of oxygen. Okay, it has totally there will be no oxygen, and if there is no oxygen means there will be presence of what? Which type of microbes? That is the anaerobic microorganisms will be there. Which microorganism? The microorganism which can survive in the absence of oxygen. So that we are calling it as the anaerobic microorganism. So that anaerobic microorganism will start digesting the fungi and microbes. Anaerobic microorganisms they will start digesting the bacteria and fungi. The bacteria and fungi which is present in this sludge, that is activated sludge. In this there is presence of bacteria and fungi. So whatever the bacteria and fungi will be there, for example, this is the bacteria and fungi. So these are the anaerobic microorganism. What they will do means they will eat them. To whom they will eat? To these bacteria and fungi. They will start digesting, which is present in the anaerobic sludge digester. Here the microorganism, this microorganism, they will digest the organic matter also. Digest the organic matter from that particular sludge. They are going to digest bacteria and fungi, as well as they are going to digest the organic matter which is present in the soluble form. Okay, which is the organic matter which is present in the soluble form. They are going to digest it. After digesting, here I will write this anaerobic matter. After digesting that one, this organic matter and bacteria and fungi, they will start to produce gases. Produce some type of gases such as methane, hydrogen sulfide, then carbon dioxide. What they will start? They will eat the microbes which are present in the sludge, as well as they will eat the organic matter. Then they will produce some sort of gases. What are the gases? Methane, hydrogen sulfide, and carbon dioxide. So altogether this gas we can call it as the biogas, or else that is the gobar gas also we can call. What we can call to these gases? What they are going to produce? That is the biogas is going to produce after digesting the microbes and the organic matter. Okay, so this is about the tertiary treatment. The next the sewage water is sent for the chemical treatment that I will explain in the next class. Okay, after that, here I had given the term biogas. A biogas plant is there that I will explain in the next class. Okay, thank you.